Hello everyone, and welcome to my corner of the world. I've come on a few minutes early because I just wanted to make sure that I had my camera in the right orientation this time. The last few times that I've done a live, I have struggled because for some reason the camera wanted to go portrait and I needed it to go landscape. But it looks like I have got it right today. Yay me. So if you are out there watching me, maybe you take a moment to let me know that you're there in the chat box there on the right hand side. I am going to wait just a few minutes more just to make sure that everyone's here at the beginning that wants to be. We are 100 and something here in North Texas. I've kind of lost count of where we stand. I know it's something like 30 something days that we've had over 100. Some years we might only get 1 or 2 days, other times we may get more. But this year it reminds me very much of, I think it was 2012, when we had something like 70 days over 100 degrees. But basically it's just meant that we kind of do what we need to do outside very early in the morning, and then we come in and we just shut the door and keep the heat out, and just thank goodness that we've got air conditioning, because I cannot imagine what it would be like without air conditioning. Okay, so it'll be a couple more minutes and then I'll kind of get started. Now, if you follow me, you'll know that I wasn't around the last couple of weeks, and not by my choice. I would have loved to have been here and joined you, but unfortunately I was diagnosed with a detached retina 2 weeks ago, and that was on the Friday, and then on the Saturday morning I was in having emergency surgery. But apparently things are looking good. It looks like it was successful. The only downside is that as part of the recovery, they put a little bubble of gas in your eye, and it kind of, when you open your eye, it's like opening your eyes underwater. And it was just impossible for me to be able to sort of focus properly for a couple of weeks. Now, the bubble of gas kind of slowly gets absorbed into your body, and I think I've probably got about 50% of the has gone, but it's still a bit weird to see, and in fact to focus I have to close one eye, and so the project I've decided to do today is a large one. I figured that if I did something large, it wouldn't be quite so fiddly for me to have to focus on. And so it's going to be a 3D project, and I have had a bunch of these, there's liquid hand soap basically, and I've had a bunch of these, and I figured that, you know, they would make really good craft show items to sell, because they'd make a really nice gift. And even if you don't do craft shows, then it would still take something that is relatively ordinary and just making it a little bit special. Now, normally I would do this from scratch, but I decided today, in case it kind of takes me a little bit of time to work my way through it, that I've already sort of plotted out in my mind, and I have pre-cut some card, so at least I know it's accurate, and you know, the box should work. So normally when I do a live with you, I would show you how I measured everything up. And I can do that basically here, in that, you know, I can tell you that it's just over 8 inches tall, and the base is like 1 3/4. And so that means that the top will be 1 3/4 and the sides would be 1 3/4. So my card that I have, you do need to have a piece of 12 by 12, because I need 11.5 inches this way and 6 1/4 this way, and that will make the back box. And then this is going to be our cover, and I have used some retired designer paper. Now, normally I would use current product, but if I was to mess this up, I don't want to use current product. So I found this lovely leafy paper, which goes quite nicely with the green of the soap, and I pulled out a couple of blues to go with it, and this is Pool Party, and I have a feeling that this is a retired blue that was called Dapper Denim. But you'll forgive me for using retired product on this occasion. Normally I wouldn't do it, but really, if you decided to do something like this, then what you're going to do is to pick out a colour that goes with your soaps. So this is called Aloe and Cucumber, and I got these quite reasonably. One of our well-known stores, Bed Bath & Beyond, here in the States, is closing all its stores, and I was able to get some of these very reasonably priced. And I got things like pink ones and mauvey ones, and I think I got a bluey one, and I shall be decorating those up in due course. All right, so we're gone 1 o'clock. Anyone who's joined me, maybe you just let me know that you're out there in the chat box on the right there, where you're joining me from. I'd love to know that you are there, and that you've decided to join me today. Okay, so we're gonna start by making the box, and for this, as I said, the box itself needs to be 1 3/4 inches deep. So we're going to score on all 4 sides of this piece. This piece, as just to remind you, it's 11.5 by 6 1/4, but that you would then obviously measure up your own sort of bottle. So we need 1 3/4 score on all 4 sides. So 1 Now I might be a little bit slow if you're just joining me. You may have wondered why. I wasn't here the last couple of weeks, and I was just explaining that my eyesight has been, in my right eye, has been compromised because I had a detached retina. Hey Linda, good to see you. Thank you for joining me today. So this is going to be the strip that goes on the front, and so this is going to be 1 3/4 as well, scored like that. So those are my main pieces. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Right, now then, we're going to build our box up, and because of, my eyesight is a bit compromised, I'm going to be putting in my folds first. It'll be a lot easier for me to see what I'm doing with those folds in. I'm hoping another couple of weeks and I should get full eyesight back, but there's a chance I might have to start wearing glasses again, which is a bit of a backward step for me, but hey, if that's how it is, that's how it is. So these are going to be my little tabs that I'm going to make into my box. So I'm just cutting along that score line to this one, and I'm going to notch. And the reason that we put those notches in, if you're not familiar with boxes, is it takes some of the bulk out, so that when you put it together, you haven't got lots of card causing you a problem. So I'm cutting on the score line, like that, and like this, and final one. So there's my bits there, and I'm going to be using double-sided tape to put my box together today. You may have heard me talk about double-sided tape. You know that I do like to use liquid, but that takes a little bit of time to dry, and so by using this double-sided tape today, it means that I can put my box together quickly and not have to sit and wait for anything to dry. So I'm just putting a couple of strips on each end or each tab, and then we can take it from there. All right. So there's that bit. Now I like to just use my bone folder to smooth down my tape. Just a little bit of pressure can help activate the actual tape. Now then, where is my, there it is. I'm going to use this to take the backing off. So with this, I'm going to do one tab at a time. I find it easier to do it that way rather than having lots of adhesive that I'm trying to wrangle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this fold with this cut. So and I'm going to keep pressure to make sure that this piece matches up with the tab, and then we're just going to pop a bit of extra pressure there to make sure that that's stuck down. And then this one, again, we're going to bring it round so the fold is on my cut edge, like that. So Linda, how are you coping with the hot weather? I must admit, it's all I can do to go out and water my garden at the moment. Right, so one more, and then we have our box. And with any luck at all, it will fit. Okay, so here's the moment of truth. Ooh, good. That works. Yes, that works really nicely. Now, I am a bit concerned that this is quite heavy. This I don't know how much this weighs, but there's 12 ounces in there, 12 fluid ounces, so it's quite heavy. So I think it's going to be a good idea to put a little bit of reinforcement in here. And let me see, I did cut a piece. This is 2 3/4, well, just a smidge under the 2 3/4 by a tiny bit under 1 3/4. So if I put this on here with some, use liquid this time, and I'm just going to slot it here in the bottom, and I think that will help reinforce the actual base of the box a little bit. Right, because it's actually going to stand like that. Okay, right, so that's our box piece. Now we're going to work on the lid. Now this is the same length, so it's, let me see, 11.5, and it's just the tiniest bit over 2 3/4. It's like a 1/16 of an inch, because that's the size. What you saying? You're staying in? Yeah. Oh dear. And your plants are dead. Yeah, I'm not at all surprised, Linda. I think mine are just about to give up the ghost. I did go out and give them some Miracle Grow this morning, so I'm just hoping with everything crossed that will survive. That might help them along a bit. Okay, so then I've 1 3/4 inches either end, because that is the same depth as my box. And so when I put my folds in, I'm going to have 1 3/4 at the top, and then that's going to fit over the length. So I want to do some pretties, so I'm going to use this. I love this punch. I'm going to just on what will be the top, I'm going to put a decorative punch, you see there, and then I'll flip over and do it the same, and now I've got a nice matching fancy corners. I also thought that it would be nice to be able to see the name of the or if you like, the scent of this soap. And so I'm thinking about sort of punching a hole here. So I'm going to slide it to one side and get me a pencil, and I'm going to, okay, so we roughly need it to be there. Okay, so that's my, if you like, the bottom, and I'm going to use this nice fancy punch. I think this is a really nice punch, and I'm going to be a bit more scientific. Right, so let's see, so that's okay, so that's 2 3/4 plus a tiny bit, so 2 3/4, so half of 2 3/4, so that would be 2 3/4, so 2 1/2 would be 1 1/4. I reckon that the middle is roughly there. Okay, so let's see what we've got. So if I line up the bottom there with the bottom, can you just see I've got my little pencil mark just there. And then my center point was just there. So I reckon if I just line those bits up, and hopefully that will give me a good finish. All right, again, fingers crossed. Ooh, look at that, yay me. Got it right. So we got the name and we got a little bit of that pretty flower. That looks like a magnolia to me, but maybe I'm not right there. Okay, so we'll just take out the pencil marks. There we go. And I'm going to keep this bit. So, all right, so now we've got our panels, and we're going to attach our decorative paper. So while I do that, ooh, that's nice. That's got nice dots on it. Ooh, like that. But I am going to use the other side. So my card, these pieces here, are 7 3/4 by 2 1/2. So there's one for the back and one for the front. And by using these extra panels, I'm thinking that it will be a sturdier box. Because as I said a few minutes ago, the that bottle of soap is quite heavy. So really today, I guess I'm just mainly using some punches. I don't think I've got any stamping that I'm going to do. Oops, that's not quite center. That's because I got one eye closed so that I can focus on what we've got going on here. All right. So the steps that I'm taking are really basic for any kind of box. You just get your item and measure it up, and then choose some colors, and then you can take it from there. Right. And I've made quite a lot of boxes in my when I do my various videos, and I've done quite a few on my Sunday Lives as well. All right, so that's that one, and then we put the sides on. So, what do you all think of it so far? As I say, I think this would make a great, if you're into doing craft fairs, this would make quite a spectacular item, and take something that's relatively quite ordinary, like some soap, and just makes it a bit special. I mean, it would make a great hostess gift because it's something that people would use. Right. So those are my sort of side pieces. I've got that all nicely decorated up like that. And now we're going to do this piece. So this is the front of our box, like this, and that's going to go on like that. And I'll show you in a moment my technique for lining up my hole. Now then, I need to make sure that I don't put too much where I'm going to be cutting a hole. So let's go ahead and attach this to the front. There we go. And there I've got my hole. So what we're going to do now, we're going to line this up with the hole that I cut in the front panel, and we're going to line this up and punch it out. Now I've got card and paper here, so it's a bit tough. There we go. And I've got my piece here. Alrighty, so there I've got a nice hole in there. Now back to our tape. Welcome to those of you who have just joined us. I hope you're enjoying the box that I'm making today. If you'd like to just put something in the chat box, let me know where you're joining me from today. I'd certainly love it if you would join in. All right, so we're going to pop this here. And now I'm going to pop this back in, and I'm going to use this to help me line this up and get the two pieces joined together. And so I'm going to take the backing off. And unfortunately, I need to take all pieces off for this one, because otherwise I won't get it all. I won't see it all, get it all off. Now I've got a tiniest little bit of overlap on the side here, so I need to make sure that this is centered and that it is up against the bottom of my box. Let's just check. Yep, looks like it's all nice and square. and then I can pull this, and then I'm just going to go get my bone folder again and really push this down just to make sure it's nice and well stuck. And then my next little bit is I have got some of these tiny little Velcro dots, and I'm going to use a Velcro dot to stick the top on, or to stick it down. So I'm going to cut the two off together. Now what I do like to do with these Velcro dots is to separate them first, so that you're kind of breaking the hook and eye thing, and then I'm going to pop them back together again, and then I'm going to start by taking the backing off of one side and I'm going to just attach it to the top, the inside of the top. Then I'm going to take the backing off again of the other side, and we're just going to bring it up, line everything up on the sides, and then press that firmly down like that. I'm going to let that set a few moments, let the adhesive really set. Now, to hold this a little bit more firmly, I'm actually going to put a belly band on this, and so this is 1 inch wide, and it doesn't have to be just 1 inch, you could make it a little bit bigger. Now I'm going to start by putting a score line at 1 3/4, but I'm not going to score all the way around for each of the corners, because oftentimes I find that if you're just the tiniest smidge out, you don't get a good finish. So this is how I do it. So I'm going to start by that first one. I'm going to place it on that front corner, and then I'm going to turn, and I'm going to turn that round there and give it a rub, little squeeze, then take it off, and then I'm going to line up the edges. Then I know I've got a straight fold, and then I'm going to pop it back on, and then I'm going to go round to the next corner, and again I'm going to slide it round, give it a squeeze, bring it out, and line my edges and put a final fold in there, and then line up for the last one. And I'm just going to smoosh that round and line that one up, and there's all my folds in. And so basically the belly band is literally tailored for this box. And the reason I put in the first one using my scoring board is because I wanted to make sure that this was actually at right angles, it was square, and my scoreboard would do that for me. So we can bring this back round, and I'm just going to have it a little bit up here, and I'm going to trim off the excess and back with the tape. I'm going to put some piece on the inside of one end and the outside of the other end, and then that way I've got a nice double seal when I come to stick the two pieces together. Okay. It's a little bit long there. I'm just going to fold it back on itself. So I'm just going to line everything up. press firm. That's a bit of scrap. So now I've got my belly band in place. Now I can't bring myself to waste this. Linda will tell you I don't like waste. It's my Scottish blood, I'm sure. So I'm going to attach this to this piece. And because I use the same punch, it's all going to line up like that. And I'm going to pop it on there. So let's put a couple of dimensionals down. Now I could at this point do a little bit of something, maybe some stamping to put that there, and maybe a little something sort of maybe to say for you or something like that. And my final little flourish. I've got my, I think it's called the Petal Park punch, and I am going to cut out a couple of flowers. I don't want to waste any of that, so I'm just going to cut a strip. So I'm going to cut out a couple of these, and I'm going to cut out a couple in the pool party. And you may have seen me use this little technique before to make the flowers have a bit of life to them. Just popping them on a piece of foam and just using something, a pen cap or what have you, to cup them so that they look really a lot more lifelike. We're just going to attach them together with a glue dot, and layer. Just pop that like that, and another one. And here we go. Let's pop that back down again and really give that a firm press. And I think if I attach them there, now I'm going to use just a little small piece of Stampin' Dimensional, like that. I'm going to put a piece there and a piece here. Like that. And then we put a couple of pearls here. One, just for a little bit of bling, because we can't not have a bit of bling, can we? And there we're done. And so the last thing I'm going to do is to just test this top piece. And I like to just do it a couple of times, press and pull back. Because really you just want it to tack it in place. And if you have it too firm, your card may tear. There. So, what do you think? I hope you do like this, this idea. As I say, a perfect gift if you're into doing craft shows. It would make a lovely item to sell. If you've enjoyed the live today, perhaps you'll go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and I've probably taken a little bit longer than I normally would to create something like this, but as I say, only operating with one eye today. But anyway, I have really enjoyed sharing this project with you, and I plan to be back, my eyesight willing, next Sunday at 1 o'clock. Well, thank you. Bye for now.